Okay, it's been a few hours. I know these are mostly done, and there's two ways you can tell. One is they've more than doubled in size. They're actually probably a little bit more than they should be. But two, you can see nice healthy bubbles throughout there, and you can see it bubbles coming through on the surface. So it's usually a good sign that these things are ready. You want to make sure you got a little bit of a dome to the dough as well. It'll start muffin topping if you leave it too long, and then you know you've overcooked it. Okay, so what the bulk rise is the time spent in that 80-degree range, 3 to 5 hours, depending on how long it takes to get to this stage where it's kind of doubled and it's bubbly. So once it's bulk rise, the next step is for it to go into these bannetons. And there's two different ways to do the banneton. I do it with the insert. There's also, you can just do it just with the wood. I don't know, I haven't tried it that way, but a lot of people just use it with the wicker wood. They're not expensive, they're only like $8 each or something on Amazon, but totally worth it. It just gives good shape to your bread and gives it a good vessel to cool and to breathe through when it goes into the fridge for the next step, which is, I can't remember, I'm drawing a blank on the type of name, but it's like the cold ferment or anyways, it's got to spend overnight in the fridge really before you bake it. So what I do, even though I flour these after every use, I still do another layer of, I use rice flour. I don't know if it matters. I think you can use other types of flour. I've tried and haven't seen the difference, but apparently rice flour, I don't know, I just got it from my neighbor and I just stuck to it ever since, and it's worked really well for me. So I've got two different shapes for you to show how to do two different shapes. So I got the oval and I got the round. So we'll start with the round. If you want to bring the camera closer. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do one more stretch and fold on this. I'm going to transfer this into the banneton. It's pretty simple. So it's just like we did before with the stretch and fold that we did during the bulk or before the bulk rise. I'll just stretch and fold it one more time. I don't have a scientific explanation of why to do this. It was just something that a lot of different people said to do, so I do it. So I'm sure there's a reason. I can Google it, or you can Google it. But okay, once you have it stretched and folded, you want this folded side up in the basket here, because that's going to be the bottom side when you transfer it to. It's going to be the bottom side when you transfer it to the Dutch oven tomorrow. So I flip it and let it slowly release from the glass. Once it's released, I will put it like that. It should come off your hand. Once it's like that, you're going to give it a dusting of rice flour so it doesn't stick to your shower cap or whatever lid you decide to use, or whether it's a towel or a silicone cover, whatever you decide to use. So just a little dusting of rice flour, cap goes back on, and that will go in the fridge for another 8 to 10 hours overnight. The second one here, this is sort of my own technique. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. You can move to a floured surface, you can do some stretch and folds, you can do, there's another type of folding called coil folding, which I don't do, but this is how I do. I do a version of stretch and fold, so if you want to come closer to this, where I grab one whole side and I flip it over, and then I do the same thing on the other side. I get right underneath and I flip it over. You're sort of making that log shape, and then I'll do a pinch and fold here. I'll do a pinch and fold here, just get off the side of the bowl. And once I get that rough shape, I'm just going to do some crisscrosses where I grab and twist and fold over. So that's a grab, twist and fold over. You can see it's starting to form that log-like shape. Honestly, the banneton does most of the work. This is just giving it a little bit more strength and degassing it a little bit. Again, flip it over, let it come off the bowl, and into the banneton. Should come right off your fingers. You might see some bubbles like this. Don't worry about that. They'll go away when it rests overnight. And then I'll just take the rice flour, kind of liberally dose it as well, maybe too liberally. Put some on there, and then cover goes on. And it's going to go to sleep for the night. And we'll just tuck it into the fridge, and we will find a place for it and then resume in the morning.